Hey YouTube, it's Charlie from Reader Turned Writer, and today I am sharing my December 2021 reading wrap-up. December is one of my favorite months because I love Christmas, of course, and as a mom, it's even more fun. I did get 16 books read, but it was actually my lowest page reading month of the year. You can see I got just about 3,000 pages read, and the next lowest after that was January, which was 3,800. So they were shorter books, but I enjoyed a lot of them. I had a lot of 5-star reads, and I'm really excited to share with you what I read. The first book I read was a little Christmas novella that I had been saving. I had read 2 books by this author that were kind of in the same world, and so they had mentioned characters that I already knew about because I'd read the previous books, and I was saving them for Christmas, and it is 10 Ways to Survive Christmas. It's a second chance romance. It was really cute, short and sweet. It was perfect, exactly what I was looking for. I would highly recommend it. I rated it 5 stars. Then I finished reading Word Gets Around by Lisa Wingate, and this is the second in a series. I actually read the third one first, and then I went back to read the first 2 because I really enjoyed the third one. The first one was just okay, and this one I didn't really like. I actually rated it 2 stars. It was just kind of boring for me. I just didn't feel drawn to read it. I had to force myself to read it. I wanted to finish it in November, and I just couldn't force myself to read it that fast, and so I ended up finishing it in December. It's like a small town Christian contemporary about a movie that they're trying to film in this small town. The next book I read was also a novella by Brandon Sanderson. It was Defending Elysium. So he has the Skyward series, and then he's been coming out with like the novellas to supplement the third Skyward book, so you can see kind of what's going on with the other characters that he's co-written with someone else. This one is like the prequel to this, and was like his very first, like one of the earlier works of his that they decided to republish now because it ties in with Skyward. It follows a character on Old Earth, if you've read Skyward. So it follows a character on Old Earth, so way before Skyward, and it was really good. I rated it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It had like some detective mystery to it, which I always enjoy. It had really cool sci-fi world building, and I really liked the tie-in with Skyward because I've been reading a lot of Skyward stuff lately. And then I reread Bloody Jack by L.A. Myers. This is one that I read in high school. I remember really loving it, so I've been wanting to reread it so that I can finish off the series, because I never actually finished the series, and so it's one of the series that I'm in the middle of. But I have to reread the first books in the series that I've already read because I don't remember them very well. It's just about this girl who, she's an orphan. She grows up as like a thief on the street, and she manages to get onto working on a ship as a ship's boy, disguised as a boy, even though she's actually a girl. It's good. It is violent. It's way more violent than I remember. There's also some sexual stuff, though it's very minor. It's not like, I wasn't bothered by it in high school, but it does have violence and it does have swearing, but it is a very like fun piratey read, and it's older. It was published quite a while ago. And then I read a really short book. It's actually, I got it on Audible. It's about an hour long, and it's called As a Man Thinketh, and I rated it 5 stars. It's if you've ever heard of The Secret, which is like a book about like you can think yourself into whatever you want, you know, like you can think yourself skinny, you can think yourself rich. Reading The Secret, it's like it takes it too far. This is what The Secret should have been. It's just so good. It has a lot of really good quotes and just really makes you think. I listen to most audiobooks on 1.5, and I actually listened to this one just on normal regular speed because I just wanted to slow down and really enjoy it and think about the things that he was talking about. And then I listened to Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and I rated this 5 stars. This is one that has been really popular. It's like a historical fiction where a Black woman somehow gets transported back in time to when her ancestors lived, but to the time like when there were still slaves and things, and she has to figure all of that out, and it was amazing. It dealt with topics that were just really hard-hitting but so well done, and I really loved her and her relationship with her husband, and just I was super engrossed in the book. It took me a while. I had a hard time wanting to actually sit down and read it, but once I got into it, I flew through it. And then I read The Peach Keeper by Sarah Adison Allen, and this is an author that I have wanted to read for a long time because of book 2. The cover and the title totally threw me off. I did not expect what the book was, but I didn't mind what the book actually ended up being. It's like a contemporary about some people in a small town who are looking into digging up the past of like their grandparents. and there's some paranormal elements to it. It's like kind of a mystery, kind of a contemporary, kind of paranormal, that like more minor, but it was not what I was expecting, but I really, really liked it. The characters were so alive to me, and I liked both the romances that were going on, and the mystery was really engaging, and I liked it all. Then I reread Kiki's Delivery Service, which I actually had read earlier this year, but when I read it, I just knew that my girls would absolutely love it because it's just cute and charming and about a witch who makes friends and goes on adventures with a cat named Gigi, and you know. So we read it together at night, and then we all watched the movie together. I had never seen the movie, and the movie's cute too, and they just absolutely adore this book, and I think it's one of my new favorites. I had to buy it because our library doesn't have it, and I'm really glad that we own it now. If you haven't read the book, especially if you love the movie, I would highly recommend the book. It's very charming, just really cute and engaging. And then another Christmas read that I read this month was Christmas as We Know It by Sarah Sutton, and I rated this 4 stars. Sarah Sutton is an author that I found through Instagram, and she is self-published, and her romances are always so fun. I always fly through them. This one was really especially fun because it was Christmas time. The romance in it was maybe a little bit predictable, but I didn't care because I was just having so much fun reading about the characters. The one thing that I wish was that the book gave us a little more closure on some of the side characters. There were some different romances and couples, and when the book ended, I kind of wanted to know more about the side couples that we had been reading about that we didn't get as much closure as I wanted on. But I really enjoyed all of the characters in the book and all of the romances. And then the girls and I listened to the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street together on Audible, and they loved it. They would beg to listen to it. My daughter, she rates books on Goodreads after she finishes them as kind of a way to keep track of the books that she reads already, and she wanted to rate it 10 stars because it was that good. She absolutely loved it, and they loved that it took place at Christmas time, and we actually finished it the day before Christmas Eve, and they just really had fun with it. And then my Agatha Christie read for the month was Midwinter Murder, which is a short story collection. So I was a little bit wary going into it. I wasn't sure if I would like short stories by Agatha Christie because I've never really read them before, but I absolutely loved it. There was Poirot, there was some detectives that I didn't know about, there was Tommy Tuppence, there was Miss Marple. It was just some that I think may have been standalone, like they didn't actually have a character that I recognized, but they were all really, really good. Some of them I liked more than others, of course, but I ended up enjoying all of them, and reading through it was really fun because they're all winter or Christmassy, and I actually finished it on Christmas Day, which was kind of fun too. And I would highly recommend it if you enjoy Agatha Christie, or if you want to get a taste of what Agatha Christie is like. You could read this and you could see her different styles and the different characters, and then your favorites you could go and find books that follow those people. And then I listened to A Gentleman in Moscow by Amore Towles, and I rated it 4 stars. This is not one that is a book that I would typically read. It's not really like the kind of book that I would usually read, but I ended up really enjoying it. I'm glad I picked it up. I especially liked the middle. The beginning was a little bit slower to get into. I started reading it on my Kindle and was having a hard time getting into it, so I started listening to it. It does have a lot of history and history tidbits, and listening to it helped me to kind of get through those. I can like do other things while listening, and so then if there are parts that are harder to get through for me, then I'm like doing the dishes anyway, so then it helps me to get through those parts. It's not quite so hard to focus. I think moving helps me focus maybe. But I really like the middle. There are 2 different girls as children that he interacts with, and I absolutely love those parts. I love the girls. They were my favorite characters, and I just love the way that he interacts with the children and the adventures that they go on and stuff. And there's intrigue, and it's very character driven, but I thought all of the characters were really interesting and their interactions were really interesting. Near the end, it started to lag for me. I was kind of like done with the book. I was like, come on, let's wrap this up, you know, and there was still like 4 hours. But then at the very end, I did like the ending and the way that it all wrapped up. So yeah, overall 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I would probably reread it and recommend it. And then I read Deadly Curious by Cindy Anstey, and I rated this 2 stars. I was really looking forward to this one. It's like a Regency murder mystery romance, which sounds super fun, but the writing really fell short for me. The dialogue was cringy. The characters, some of them were just, the main characters were fine for me, but the side characters were really hard to read. They just didn't, I didn't connect with them, and the plot was, I didn't feel like there was enough to the plot, and it seemed pretty obvious, and I ended up skimming quite a bit to try and get through the end by the end of it, because it was just hard to get through, and I was pretty disappointed because I was looking forward to it. Then I read The Babysitter's Club. It was a reread for me. I loved The Babysitter's Club when I was a child, and I absolutely have loved the Netflix TV show that they've done of it. I binge watched both seasons when they came out. They were just super good. I do want to warn that the show does take the Lord's name in vain a couple times. I warn because I wouldn't let my kids watch it unless we had some sort of filter on it because of that, and so. But my kids saw the ad for The Babysitter's Club, and Parker loved that, and when she found out that they were books, she begged me and begged me and begged me to read it. So I bought the first few books and I started reading it to her. She really loves the concept. She says it's her favorite book. She's 5, but she's just not quite old enough for the book yet, and so I ended up just finishing it on my own and reading something else with them, because I could just tell she wasn't as interested in the actual book. She just loves the concept of a club where you babysit. She loves babies, she loves kids already. She's going to be one of those people who babysits all the time, because she loves hanging out, taking care of kids and stuff. And so I think that she'll really enjoy this when she's just a little bit older. I also think the first book is a little bit hard to get into. It's like the first half of the book is them setting up the club, which is a little bit boring, but once you get into them actually babysitting, then it's a lot more interesting. And then the rest of the series is them babysitting, so I think that the rest of the series is really enjoyable too, if I remember right, you know. It's been a long time, but the writing itself is actually really good for the target age that she's writing towards, compared to some other books that I've gone back and reread, and I was like, wow, this writing is not the greatest. But this one's not too bad. And the last 2 books that I read were the 5th and 6th collection of the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books by Brian Michael Bendis, and I rated them both 5 stars. The more I read in the series, the more I like it. I think there's 10 collections in the series, so I am going to finish off that series this year, and I'm really excited to do that. So that was my reading month. It was really fun, kind of relaxing. I was able to finish up some of my goals, but I didn't feel a lot of pressure to read a whole bunch or read really heavy books, and so I kind of got a good mix and really just enjoyed the Christmas season and relaxing, and like my birthday's 5 days after Christmas, so I got to just sit around and read a lot of the day, and that was really nice. I would love to hear from you in the comments what your favorite book or books were from December. Mine were Kindred, The Peach Keeper, and 10 Ways to Survive Christmas. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. We can talk more about books and connect that way. If you want to follow my reading journey, I do post a review for every book that I read on Goodreads, and I also have an Instagram account where I share more bookish and writing related material. They're both linked in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe for lots of reading and writing content. And thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you in the next one.